own arrangements of hymns. And the goals are to further enhance my own worship times with God as I challenge myself to leave my comfort zone and create heart music, to arrange and present music to communicate a life-changing message. I played a lot. I played by ear. God blessed me with the ability to play by ear, which drove my piano teacher crazy. You know, if Mozart had wanted it that way, he would have written it that way. You know, she was like, and so I was doing my own arrangements of offertories, but mostly it was Saturday night. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to play in this key, and I'm going to modulate. And one Sunday morning, I think I got myself in the key of X or something, and I just couldn't figure out how to get back to a safe where my fingers knew where they were. And so after that little panicky experience, I thought, you know, I'm going to really start trying to write my things down. But it says, can I do this? Yes, it can be learned. I'm going to cover, when I sit down at the piano here, a lot, everything on the back of your page, real quickly. But just one little thing. And a lot of these work in accompanying as well, in accompanying on hymns. Some of them the expanding things, and you'll see some of them work just in your accompanying as well, congregation. But it sometimes just taking one little thing and changing it can make somebody listen to it and go, oh, that's a little different. You know, that's a little different. So many things enter into the writing experience, God-given talent, experience and training, creativity, inspiration, and hard work. Anybody who has ever written music has had to start somewhere. Pardon me again. I was blessed to have a classically trained background. My piano teacher was our church organist, and I started when I was 6 years old, and until I went to college, I had her, and she was wonderful. And theory, Houston, it was in Houston, Guild auditions and the whole deal. And so I was very blessed with that. So if you're going to write an arrangement, 2 questions. What is my specific purpose for the arrangement? And then what do I want to arrange? Now, it says, first relax, this is fun. I've had people say, I've been to conferences, somebody's coming in there. I've been to conferences where people said, oh, I can't do this. And then I'd go back to the conference 2 years later and they said, guess what? You know, I made a couple of arrangements. And so I was proud of them. But the nice thing about when you're arranging for keyboard is there's lots of freedom in it. If half of my writing is choral and half is keyboard. Some people who are keyboardists don't know I write choral and vice versa. But when you arrange for choral, you have the voice leadings, the ranges, all those parallel fourth things, you know, that they teach you in theory. But in keyboard, really anything goes, anything. And there's lots of possibilities for change in the 5 elements: melody, rhythm, harmony, texture, and form, but not all in one arrangement, please, is what I put there. Think about these things. The melody should be clearly defined, right? You want them to know what it is you're playing. It shouldn't be so fancy that they go, what is that? The arrangement should be concise, whatever that means. Have you ever heard somebody play and you go, oh, it's finished? It's not finished. Mostly for offertories, if you still do offertories. Some of you do, some of you don't. But a 3-minute thing is plenty long enough. I actually have a book, it's here, that because of input, this one, it's kind of an older book. But, well, thank you. But it came out of a conference that people say, I like your books, but I have to cut, and go to the end. There's 2 places on the front, there's one there. And so, I hope your pastor or whoever doesn't make you just, this lady said the pastor just gets up and goes, and looks at me like, stop now. I was like, really? Because that is worship too. That should be worship too, as we're playing, as you're playing from the keyboard. So, clearly defined, concise, and it should express worship from your heart, whatever form that takes. So getting started, you pray. Choose a song, get hymnal. Choose a song that's meaningful to you. Dissect the song. Feel free to look at published arrangements. I did that when I started writing choral. I didn't know how to write it down. I was like, oh, there's a bracket thing there, and there's a, as far as the form, because you read it, but you don't actually dissect it till you start writing it. And look at published arrangements. What do you like about them? Play through some and say, oh, I like that. That changes key, or oh, that's a minor. We're going to talk about all these things. What makes them work? And get some initial ideas and just start. And then develop the overall form and design. We'll have an introduction, verses, choruses, modulation. You want to put in some original material, and then go. Start playing, relax and enjoy yourself. Let your creativity flow. Write down ideas, chords, rhythm patterns that make sense, and develop a rough draft. And rewrite. That's the name of the game in writing. And then evaluate it. Does it meet my criteria and purpose? Does it express what I want to say? Can I play it? And you laugh, but publishers have asked me to write before advanced books, and I said, gotta be able to play it, so probably not. No, I personally myself, I am friends with some really good advanced, like Marilyn Ham, and there's lots who write beautiful, beautiful things. But in my playing experience as a church pianist for many, many years, I am not that great a sight reader. I mean, I'm because I play by ear. I'm a decent sight reader, but some people who don't play by ear just from the get-go are better sight readers than I am. And to spend 2 hours on a 3-minute offertory from, some of them have a super hard section, 1 or 2 super hard sections. And to me, my writing is intermediate, basically. Moderate is what mine is. I want it to be accessible for as many people as possible. And then finalize it. Let's see. Here's one here. Got still some back there. All right, so we're just going to, this next 45 minutes or so, we're going to talk through some things. Let me see if I said everything I was going to. Oh, about the clearly defined thing. I have a friend who is a wonderful pianist and arranger, and he was playing for a nursing home, and he said, do I have any requests? And so he said, this one lady said, I'd like for you to play Amazing Grace. And he said, I improvised and played this wonderful Amazing Grace. And they clapped, and the lady said, that was pretty. Can you play Amazing Grace now? Because she didn't recognize what it was. And so that's what you don't want to do. It's not about filling a page with notes. It's about your worship. And you'll hear me say this in every class, that it's about your worship. And worship music styles, I was raised very traditional. So you hear that, classical input in my things that I write. But there's a man named Blake Coffey who has some wonderful courses. One was the languages of worship that my husband and I went to, and he talked about your primary music language. Like, I speak English as my primary language. I speak classical as my primary music language. Some of you would say, who in here would say another type? Tell me, because we probably have 5 or 6 different kinds of styles in here.
More contemporary.
Contemporary, okay.
Country western.
Country western, yeah.
Meditative.
Gospel, there's all kinds. Now, those can be secondaries to me, and I speak them. I don't speak them as well. Like jazz, my hands don't know where those chords are because I learned classical. But I can do those. I can learn them and do them some. But Blake said, let's say you adopt a child from China and that child only speaks Chinese. Are you going to say, not a word of Chinese is spoken in this house? You're speaking English now. No, because you love that child. You're going to learn a little Chinese. And he said, that's what as believers we should do. This is a little, not exactly on piano, but music. He said, we should not judge, because I worship one way, you worship in a different style, the best. But we still need to leave room for other things. I used to be like contemporary scared me. Like, oh dear, this is not what I grew up with. Can I play it? And my husband was like, can I direct it? Yeah, we can, we do. And I have a couple of blended books even. So don't be afraid to do what what you feel like, because you're a unique creation, and we worship God in different ways. So as you sit down at the piano and play, just let your music be your music. Now, all right, let's start. Specific ideas. Some of these I'm going to reference. It takes a little bit more time, but some of it's easier if I just play out of what I've written. All right, the meter changes. If we don't have hymnals in here, but the hymn, I Need Thee Every Hour, right? It's written in what? I need thee every hour. It's written in three. But you can change that. I'm not changing chords or anything here. I'm trying to be simple. My fingers want to do other stuff. You could do that. All right. 1, 2, 3. All right, so you're having to think of it. Not all hymns will do that, but most hymns you can change meters on. Let's see. This is kind of funny. I had fun with it. This is
That's fun.
anybody have this book? Classical Christmas carols. They're in the settings of classical pieces. And let's see, page 6. I'm not going to give away what the classical piece is. Let's see. Instead of I put it in 6/8. That was not a hard stretch at all. Silent Night. Now you can take a hymn book, work that out yourself, write the melody down if you want to, and play that for an offertory or for a little meditative something. And people, you can. It's kind of like, oh, that's a little different. I think it makes people listen to it. It's better. Great is Thy Faithfulness works beautifully. I've done that. I had that in a piano book. Mary did it in her song last night. She did a 3/4 and then a 4/4 too. Beautiful. All right, so just the meter. I want this to be interactive. This may drive me crazy. I may get a chair. If you have any questions, please just jump in, okay?
A lot of times you can, on changing meters, you can do that with make medleys. If you have two hymns that you want to put together, and it's just sort of awkward going from one meter to another, just change one of them to fit the meter of the other one, and and then they'll go seamlessly, and your congregation probably won't even notice what you've done.
That's good. That's right. You absolutely can. That's good. Just don't change the meter when you're accompanying, and don't surprise your
Don't
like, I
surprise.
think I'll play this in 4/4 today, okay? No,
I take enough liberties with tempo as it is. I don't want to change meter on it.
All right, and then chord structures and harmonies. All right, hymns are basically written in 1, 4, 5, 1, right, with an occasional something thrown in. But find some different chords. Now, I was just kind of improvising on Silent Night there. I'll play it in 3. And one of my friends said he finds different chords when he plays in the key of B. He'll just play around in B and go, oh, what chord is that? If I put it in C, because your fingers don't know it as well. He said, I found the most interesting chords, like, oh, what is that? See, that's a chord. What is that chord? See, it's 1, 6. And now I just found that chord and say, so what is that? I don't know what to call that chord, but it's there. You'd have to analyze and say, what is that? So I'm going to talk about a little like minor. That's kind of altered what I just told you, 1, 4, and 5. That's the second thing there, but minor. If you look at words, all right, let's take Amazing Grace. And then Through Many Dangers, all right? Can you play that and just... Greater than our sin. All right, think of the words. Dark is the stain, what to be, cannot hide, what can avail to wash it away? Look, there is flowing a crimson tide. Now, in one of my books, I have this minor. We've been doing so what do we do there? We were in G minor, we're in G, then G minor. And it fits the words. What can avail to wash it away? Look, there is flowing a crimson tide, whiter than snow you can be today. That's it fits the words there. So, to wash it away. G minor chord. Now, I go down to F in the left hand. And go to a B flat chord, and I'm in the key of B flat. I'll play it again. I'm in root, G minor chord. I'm in that position, second position there. And then I'm going. Look at words and see what that's a possibility for changes. I got ahead of myself with yes, ma'am.
I like that a lot of there are times that you don't change key in one of your arrangements. I like that. You might slip into minor for a minute. I think Children of the Heavenly Father does that.
Okay.
I think it slips into minor somewhere, but it doesn't stay there long, and there's a reason, and then you're back. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I like that.
Oh, good, thank you.
So, I like that you don't always go to the key change.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. All right, let's see, 2 minute, let's see. I was going to illustrate the altered chords here in the 2 minute book. 21. I need the every hour. This is a 4 for this. That was an altered chord, all right. I had to learn to add that, and I love it now that I'm used to it. To add the second. I'm trying to get used to the ending of the song. I want to sing. But it's pretty. It's contemporary. It's a contemporary feeling. But we had a lady in our choir, and when Bruce was at First Baptist Killeen, and she would always sing it. I can't help it. The Army wife, and they've moved on 2 more times since then, but anyway, it's kind of funny. And suspensions, like same kind of thing. All right, suspensions. What is it? It's a dissonant note that resolves into the main harmony of the chord. I love the tension in the resolution. Don Wurtson has a book called A Musician Looks at the Psalms. It kind of went, I think it went out of print, it's back in print. And it's so good, but he actually talks about, he applies music to our personal lives, and he says, we as believers have times of tension. We just go, oh God, why are we in this suspended state, you know? And then it resolves. We go, oh, you know, then we can feel God's peace through everything. But we go through times, each one of us, as believers. Most of you know, I'm 11 years out from breast cancer. What was supposed to be a little minor thing was a pretty major thing, and I'm healthy as I can be. I keep my hair short so I can talk about it, because people stop and ask me, I love your hair, and I'll say, God gave, what they say is, I wish I had the guts to do my hair that way, and I said, I didn't have the guts. But once you've been bald, it's a whole lot of hair. But I say, God was so good to me during that time, and he taught me so much. And they either go, oh, or they go, oh, that's nice, and they walk away, you know. But mostly they hug me, you know. So, but God is, and so it's a time of, how long is this going to work? How long is this going to be? And I don't know if it's going to resolve here or in heaven, you know. But God is with us in all those times. So suspensions. Now, you can overdo suspensions. You know, you don't want to. A little too much. You know, a little too much. But just a little bit is not. I use lots of suspensions in mine. All right, different styles. This is fun. Any questions about so far? Yes?
Never mind. I'll wait and see if you hit it later.
Okay.
I haven't read all the way down. Sorry.
That's all right, no problem. All right, different styles. I grew up traditional, Broadman hymnal. Anybody remember Broadman hymnal? Okay. So I grew up with a pianist playing, you know, like a. But that's about soldiers. Now we have 4 good soldiers in our area, so marches go well. But what are the words? Onward, Christian soldiers. Can you imagine it? A nice little waltz? No. Can you picture the soldiers walking, waltzing across? 3, 4 are. It doesn't fit the words, right? So, onward Christian soldiers to me should be that. But let's take what a friend we have in Jesus, all right? Just down the hymnal. Right? All right? So we could do that. We could do it slow and meditative. I love to do this with hymns, especially like for communion or something, you know, about the blood of Jesus and nothing different except moved up an octave and slowed down. It makes you like, what a friend we have. Those words could be, what a friend we have in Jesus, or what a friend we have in Jesus. Don't you have those worship times you're like, oh, or oh, you know, like down like this at the feet of God. And so those words. Now, I would not do it. It's fun, but it's not kind of. Some people probably would, but I would. You won't see that with my name on it in a book, probably. So. Where it ends, you know, like that. Let's see. I have. All right, this book. Oh, where is it? I used it yesterday. This is the book that is honestly right now selling like crazy.
Oh.
And when I was the first approach to it, because I don't know if you know my series, What Can I Play on Sunday? That was their whole idea, Alfred's idea to write a series of, if you don't know, book 1 is January and February. I had to get one of those liturgical calendars. I said, I'm a little Southern Baptist girl, I don't know about All Saints Day and stuff like that. And
I've
so,
picked up on that
Uh-huh.
because my pastor uses the liturgy
Uh-huh.
or the lectionary.
yeah,
So, yeah,
The lectionary.
I just look at it, oh, okay,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, that works.
that's right. And some of the hymns in here are new to me
Mhm.
that were suggested in, I got a Methodist one, is what I did. And 2 years worth, and I bought a Methodist lectionary thing with the scriptures and hymns and things. And so each one of these has at least a hymn that was less familiar to me. But so I did that series, and then What Can I Play for Christmas, 1 and 2, What Can I Play for Easter? And so they said, how about What Can I Play for Funerals? And I was like, what? But then I thought, when I play for funerals, how you get 4 books with paper clips with favorite things and keep switching. So this is a collection of my favorite things to play for funerals.
What are some of the things in there that you did not know before?
Oh, not the funeral one,
Oh,
not the
okay.
funeral one. These are my favorites. But let's see. Let me see if this is one. Christ, whose glory fills the skies, Transfiguration. I did not know that hymn. That's the only one in this one. Each one of them has one that was kind of new to me. But anyway, so in this book, let's see, I was going to play When We All Get to Heaven. I've mixed kind of styles in here. Different feelings in the same arrangement. All right, questions about that?
I'm just curious. So I know you played What Friend We Have in Jesus in the kind of more Calypso style
Yeah.
earlier. I'm just curious, is it okay to use that as a very minor part and in like a theme and variations like full movement? Or do you understand what I'm saying?
Sure, I know. In what? In a worship setting?
So in a...
Depends what your worship setting is.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the church where my husband is right now, no.
Okay.
The church, I have a son who's a pastor,
Mm-hmm.
and in Indiana, his church, it would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Probably fine. You know, it just depends on what, you know, I think it's, you know, a little, it's just, I can't give you.
Well, I think it's good to throw in a little something that might make people laugh a little.
They would,
bit.
yeah. Well, again, get back to what is our purpose.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's why I would not play something like that, because it's like, does it draw them to worship? Would be the main question I'd ask. Yeah, and in our church it would not.
Okay.
In fact, some would go like, I'm sure, you know, like, what, she lost her mind, what is it? Well, I actually don't play at this church, but, yeah. So again, if we're in worship, I think if a band is jamming and doing something, that's fun to do, you know. But as far as in worship, would that draw people to worship in your congregation, would be the question I would ask. Okay, good question. All right, syncopation. All right, the hardest part about syncopation is writing it down. And years ago, I wrote something, I was writing something, and I called my editor, and I said, I'm gonna fax you what I've written down, and then call me, and I'm gonna play it, and you tell me if I'm playing what I wrote down. Because it was really, really complicated. And he said, okay, and so he did. He said, yeah, that's fine, but there's more than one way you can write this, and I would write it this way. Move the tie to the, you know, there's more than one way. And, but he said the best way would be like this. So anyway, I like to use syncopation. Again, some of these, this book has everything from, it has more songs in it because it's 2 minutes, and they tend to put the same number of pages. So it's, instead of 10 songs, it's got more like, 16 songs or something. But I have let's see, a couple of syncopated ones in here. And again, even these, in certain settings, might be, page 8 and 12.
Yeah, I've played a couple of things of yours that the congregation went, whoa, that was different.
Yeah. You do legato, yeah.
Because, well, I don't play
You don't pop it.
No, I don't pop it.
Yeah.
But that reduces the contrast.
It does. It reduces
But
the
it also
contrast.
makes it more acceptable to that
It
congregation
does.
I'm talking about.
It does. It does. And some people that, I mean, it's just, again, if their musical language is like, I am, my mother's 94, okay? She doesn't like, she calls it jumpy music. She's talking about syncopation. You know, she doesn't like it. She's adapted to it. She said, I'm getting used to it. Bless her heart, she is. She's working at it, you know. But it's not, she doesn't worship through it. So that's why I wouldn't ever do, I would do that 1 out of 10 Sundays, not that kind of thing. I have another one in here too. Oh yeah, this is fine. And again, you can pop it. Or okay, so that's fun to play. It is fun to play that. And I would play that. Joyful, Joyful is, pretty much throughout denominations, I think people sing that. It's a well-known hymn. So some people go, oh my goodness, you know, I think. But and then you put in the legato section, and I have played that quite a few times, and nobody's ever, to my knowledge, been offended by that. All right, so do your notes have single, I don't think I put it in there, but single note melody line,
Yeah.
okay. To start your offertory. First of all, what does it do when you play this?
Your focus is right on those words and on that melody.
And
Makes you listen.
makes you listen.
Yeah, because it's not what you expect.
I have to tell the truth. In one of our churches, people looked at the offertory time as, you know, catch up with it. It's not the worship. So honestly, one Sunday, this is on camera, hello. I was playing something like, you know, like I just immediately cut way back down, and this lady was saying, and then Mabel said, and she's like, oh, and I went, in my mind I was not worried, I was kind of like, gotcha. So if you seriously are, you know, you can play it, and then start putting in a little bit more. Just a little bit more. And again, it's simple, nothing weird with chords. See, you just one change. That's up an octave. okay? And just start with one note. All right, that's easy. And then it goes right into the next, different octaves or contrasts, different effects. All right, and that's what you start with the single, go. And I do this a lot in my books. What can I play? Book 3. This one. Okay, this is Be Still My Soul. And just changing up, down, low, and if I didn't move it all the way up, but you did. And this is very simple all the way through. Very simple, chord, 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 chord. Do you look at books sometimes and go, oh, it's too much black on there? Okay, all right, so different octaves, all right, different rhythm patterns, all right? I'll go back to this book. And you can use this is back to the joyful, different arrangement. Now, I'm actually changing the rhythm. Is if I'm just playing the note, those notes, the melody had the little line, the little accent over them. But what's in the chord? I put that in. Now what's next? I don't know. Back down. Straight. Okay, so little eighth notes like that. And you just have to kind of figure those out. You know, what's in the chord and what can I do with it. And then triplets, I have in this one. First Noel. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What do we do also? Change the meter. Still in the G chord, all 5, 7. And I'll play around with it. Came back, I have to go lower. It doesn't just, I mean, you have to figure it out. Sometimes it's screwed. I have all these pencil shavings. I have to get the sweeper and clean all the pencil shavings out of my piano. Erase. No, I don't like that. My husband says, people say, oh, you get to hear her play all the time. He said, yes, I do. It's like, don't like that. Or, no, it's like that. You know, it's not pretty when she's creating stuff. It's not, because it's all about trial and error. You know what works. But it's construction and what falls under the fingers and all of that stuff. All right, so triplets. You could do this with. And again, this is the hard thing. My piano teacher used to say, I ain't got a little finger, but it sounds like, you know, be sure an accent. Otherwise, you've got one of those. It just sounds like, yeah, where's the melody? So, again, if you need to work on that. And I put in the new book, wrote in, new book, page 36, new book, my newest book. It's Cindy Berry Classic Hymn Settings, and this is not using classics, it's classical styles. And you're welcome again, I'll leave it up here, and you're welcome to come look at it. 30. Okay. I don't think that's the right page. I never think about that. So I don't even see what, oh, here it is. It's 30. I was one page off. Rejoice, the Lord is King. Let me go ahead and turn the page. This is so new that my pages aren't turning well yet. Like that. Sometimes the whole song of it would be like, too tedious to me. So, but maybe not to you, and that's okay. That's just my ear tells me it's time for a little change there. Again, not a key change, just a up an octave, something. But triplets get weary on the ears sometimes in a piano solo. I love them as accompaniment to a choral anthem that's very linear, with quarter notes and half notes. I love the moving underneath. All right, and then 16ths. This is a song. This is a book that's old. I think you can still get it. Okay, you see the title? Mm-hmm. Joe Martin made me do that. For 2 years, he said, "I want you to write me a very Merry Christmas." I said, "Well, that's dumb." And he said, "No, it's not dumb. I want you to do it." So I did, eventually. And this book was 2001, when I was 12. AJ. This is 16ths every once in a while. Let's go and play it. Thou didst lead thy throne. It's beautiful. Y'all know that. Okay. Just a little section. And again, that push toward the little finger with the accent. All right, questions about that? All right, moving along. Ooh, we're going to move along. Okay, passing tones. Notes which don't belong in the harmony, but they get us from one place to the next. You can overuse this. Wonderful Words of Life, that's, and the chorus is, too much passing down. But you can do holy, 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 like on the keep it playing. Just moving from one place to the other. Amazing Grace. Just usually starts on the 5 and moves up to the 1, or 5 to 1. Just put in a little of that sometimes. All right, and augmentation. All right, we do this in choral music, we're used to it, but extending it. Right, choral music, we do it, and I will show you what I did. Ooh. On, I played this yesterday at a funeral. I sing because I'm happy. and you don't finish it, extend it. Am I gonna finish it? Nope. And you can stretch it out, or you can, in chord music, we take the quarter notes, we make them half notes, right, to lengthen it. Put in a little bit, put in one little phrase again. So it's like, oh, it's not quite finished, but the extra, what I add, just 2 measures is all I added there in that part. And let's see, if you were doing, again, everybody, I've taught music in Ukraine and in Mexico, and everybody knows Holy, Holy, Holy. So, and if you're playing an offertory and you just go, it doesn't sound finished or something, does it? I mean, you could slow it down. That's just musicality to do that, right? All right, runs and scales, again, can be overdone. I like to use them best in, so hymns like that. Or, but some people just do them all over the place, all the time, and I don't do that. It's not my style, but gospel, people who play gospel piano do a lot, and that's fine. Again, this is what's in my music is my worship. So add what you want to. By the way, some people say, I take your books and I add stuff to them, and I say, great, that's great, do it. I don't care, that's great. That's great. Some of them are adaptable for organ, even. I'm told, I'm not an organist. But, all right, and arpeggios, same thing. Instead of, you've got room time for it in the same amount of 1, 2, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. All right, and then, all right, now I call this scale step runs. It's of the scale, whatever you are, 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 5, 1. And then I'm gonna actually write chordal run. This is called, where I say chordal run, it's called hornpipe. Anybody know, you know what that is? You probably know that. So what I just played is C, D, oh man, you can barely see that over the stuff in the background. So you've got C on the top, G on the bottom, and repeat. So I'm going to play it for you. It's a 6th, 5th, 3rd, 4th underneath it. So instead of, it sounds like, it's very pretty, very pretty. And you just run it on up, or just one time. E underneath. Okay, that's underneath in any key. That's why I put the intervals for you here. A 6th, 5th, 3rd, and 4th under. Dynamic changes. The most dramatic one is this that I have done, is this. The introduction to, let's see, what key is this in? purpose, my peace, my joy. And there's room for all of that in one, but I wouldn't go back and, actually I did it before the end. I went back, I built up again and ended. All right, so text painting, bells. Little bells are, let's see. I have a river in I'm just 5, 5, 3, 2, 1. All right. Form changes. Don't have to talk much about this. Really, you can start with a chorus, play the verse, put a left-hand melody, which I just did there. Harder for most of us, unless we're left-handed, to play the melody in there to your right hand and bring out your left. It takes practice to do that. But just because it starts with a verse in the hymnal doesn't, you don't have to do that. You can do anything you want. You can go back and forward. Original themes I use a lot. If you play my music, you know, just that oh God, our help, that was the original theme. I make up this. Let's see, that's what it's played. This is through the middle of it, finish it, sometimes use it at the end. Sorry, we're having to run through this. If I do not have anything the next hour, I'm free to stay here and answer any questions you have. Medleys and blended arrangements. Now, not just random songs thrown together. I have 2 books, which this is the trouble with writing contemporary books, because these are no longer contemporary songs, okay? The ones I used then, they are no longer. So I did this because I felt led to do it, and I had fun with it. Lamb of God with Jesus Paid It All. God and God Alone with Holy, Holy, Holy. And where's one of those? See, how great is our God with us, sing the mighty power of God. So, but I thematically chose them to go together. About Lamb of God, Jesus paid it all. All right, so these are the contemporary ones. I have, of which I have 2, and then my very first. I don't even know. It's probably over there. My very first book was book 1 of this, Hymns with a Classical Touch, and it was the first piano book I ever wrote, and it has a different cover now than it used to, and I didn't even know that because we don't know it. Probably about 7 or 8 years ago, somebody said, I bought your same book twice because it has a different cover, and I got home and went, I already have this book. I said, sorry, I had no idea, because they don't tell us these things. But that original book, which came out, I think, 1985, something like that, it still sells because piano teachers like it to introduce hymnody, and vice versa. And vice versa, to put some classical music in the hands of students. This Beneath the Cross of Jesus starts. You can weave them in back and forth, and love doing that. My favorite one, because if you're taking classical piano, I'm a second movement gal. All right, the first and the third, and I like the schmaltzy. That's a musical term, schmaltzy. You know, this one. It's been
Yeah,
around like a zillion years.
That's
so-
the one for the artist in residence who said after my jury, there's a reason you're not a piano major. And I didn't.
Oh, that's funny. All right. Sorry about that.
Oh, well.
Okay. But
I
anyway,
still try to blame
that's my love of doing that. I love that. So even when and then we'll go back and have questions, but if your arrangement, I put at the bottom, even if your arrangement is never played in a worship service, it's not wasted time for you to sit and play to God. My favorite times of worship, I go in my little room, which has solid core doors, shut those doors. When we built our house, Bruce said, we can put solid core doors there. And instead of having a piano in the living room that, you know, he can actually do other stuff. And just me and God, and just playing. And if I'm trying to write a choral anthem, sometimes I sit down and just play, sometimes something works, sometimes it doesn't. But it's not wasted time if I'm praising God at the piano. It's never wasted time. And that's why I tell people, dabble around with it and have fun with it and just say, God, this is my gift to you. This is, you know, I want to praise you with my music. And just do that. Are there any questions? Yes, sir.
On the text painting side of things,
Yeah.
Do you ever like to use like so I like to use a lot of triple, like, and Trinitarian type language.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever mess with that at all?
I can't say that I do,
Okay.
but I think that's cool. Yeah.
So like in Holy, 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 so God and the triplet over
Yeah.
3 persons.
I never thought of that. Frankly, never thought of that. I think that's cool. Good. Anything else?
Are you still writing choral music?
I am.
What are some of your most recent?
I let's see. I've got several in line. Bar publication, but let's see. I think there's one in a reading session tomorrow.
Good.
I don't write as much at all as I did because, frankly, my arthritis is, you know, I can't sit and write for long periods of time. That joint's gone pretty much, you know, because as you get older, I didn't know my hands were going to get old with the rest of me. I didn't think about it, but I still, as long as I can write and play, I want to write and play, and I do love it, you know. But I don't write as much as I did, but I still am. I'm still writing for several years.
We do At the Name of Jesus at least once every year.
Oh, thank you.
Is that your most popular one?
Oh, yeah.
That's just.
And again, that was the first after some of you heard my testimony when I just was playing and writing as a hobby when I felt like it. Gloria had a music week one year in 1983 is when it was. I felt like God said, now I want you to go home and start writing your worship down. And I said, and I wrote At the Name of Jesus that next week. And then my husband said, this is good. We need to send it off. I said, God didn't tell me to send it off. God just told me to write it down. I didn't want anything to do with the publishing world whatsoever. And my husband sent it off, got it back, sent it off, got it back. It took 2 years for it to find a new upstart publishing company, and then word of mouth, and that was that. It was in God's timing and His will. Yeah, it wasn't ever my plan to be a published composer, which makes it all that much more special because I know it was God. You know, I do. So, all right, I do appreciate you coming. Let me lead us in a prayer, and I'm here, like I said. Any questions, or if you want to look at the books, okay? Father, we do love you, and again, I thank you for music.